My dad used to tell me a story when he was alive. May his soul rest in peace. About a pilot flying, mid-air with a lot of passengers, and suddenly the plane started to nosedive, and it was crazy because he looked at all his buttons and everything, and nothing is off. I didn't know what to do, and it was the plane was going at a high speed, nose diving straight into the middle of an ocean. And um, in his training, they tell them to, in difficult situations, be still and just think and just be still and, try to meditate. And so he decided to do that, and he stood still and and just take off his hands from everything and just stood still. And he remembered, or something told him, adjust your chair a little. And he did. And lo and behold, he was sitting down on top of a button, and that button released, and the plane, picked up again, and the danger was averted. You know, I've heard these stories, a number of times from him, when he tries to buttress, the point of listening to yourself and just being still and meditating. I think that this is a very essential skill for life. Why will we want to, we need to be, why we need to be efficient in communicating with people through speaking and through listening. We also need to learn how to listen to ourselves. You need to learn how to listen to yourself. Listening to yourself will give you an opportunity to hear the variety of very tangible solutions, or solutions that your mind is going to suggest and bring forth when you are in the middle of a very difficult situation, when you are, saddled with a responsibility and you need to get out of, a problem, a challenge that is facing you. It helps to, shut up, go somewhere, sit down and listen and just be quiet and just breathe and just meditate and just listen, and just brood over the problem and listen to your mind and listen to yourself. And you will, start hearing ideas and start hearing things that you could, add and you could join and you could try, that may get you out of that situation or may get you closer to the desired solution that you're looking for. It's really important that you listen to yourself. Another reason why you should listen to yourself is because listening to yourself will help you to remember the advices that you give to yourself. Sometime in your life you would hear people say, take your own advice. Many a times we are in situations where we have to, or we offer advices to people, that we meet, or our family, our friends, our colleagues, and that can help them get out of situations, or help them to choose a better path for themselves. Now, listening to yourself affords you an opportunity to remember your advices, advices that are similar to what you have or may have told somebody, advices that can, bring you back, to that normal state that you are or that you wish to be, advices that can help you set you in the right path. It is really important that you listen to yourself, you listen, because our heart is, has a lot to say, our mind has a lot to say. They record, they keep things, and they have this cloud of data, that comprise of situations and events and conversations that we've had in the past. And if we listen to them, if we listen to ourselves, we can be able to draw from that wisdom. We can be able to hear our own advices. Listening to yourself also gives you an opportunity to have a quality conversation with your conscience. A lot of people, they don't ask themselves questions. They seem not to be able to have a conversation with themselves or listen to their conscience. And this is because they have not mastered, or they have not tried to, or attempt to have that conversation with themselves, or listen to their conscience, or just listen to yourself. Because when you listen to yourself, your conscience is going to come up. Your conscience is going to, talk to you, and it's going to remind you of your commitments, of your promises, of the things that you have done wrong, of things that you need to fix right. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations where there's a lot to do, there's a lot of things to do, and we may or may not realize that we offend people, or that we make promises and failed, or that there are things that we're supposed to meet, deadlines, agendas, and all of that. And then we just move on, and day after day we start seeing the repercussions of that, forgetting, or that thing that we forgot to do, or that piece we forgot to make amends with, or that problem we didn't fix, or that commitment we didn't make just because we forgot. So listening to yourself gives you an opportunity to zero in and hear your conscience talk to you and tell you what you need to do, so that you can be on the right path. Some people say that the conscience is the Holy Spirit. Some people say that the conscience is your gut feeling. However, whatever you want to take it to be, but every human has a conscience. And as you go through life, and if you decide not to listen to your conscience, it's another way of subjecting your conscience to silence, and more silence, and more silence, and more silence. And as you listen, listen and listen, you're going to hear more and more and more. And many a times what our conscience tells us is wisdom, direct, undiluted wisdom that we can tap into. And as we grow and accumulate data from the word through our eyes, through what we read, what we see, what we feel, and what we hear, these things, they get stored in our head, they get stored in our mind, and they can be used as tools. They can be drawn up or drawn out, by our conscience, by our minds, in the future. So it's really, really important that we have conversations with ourselves through listening, through being still and being quiet and listening to ourselves. Thank you so much. Until next time.